draft, NFL draft coverage. Yeah. Draft is still going on right now, so we're only going to talk about the top 15 picks. But there have been some interesting picks. Let's start it off with number 1. You have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting, surprise, surprise, Jameis Winston, keeping him in Florida. Yeah, he's a good quarterback. He is the most pro-ready quarterback of all the quarterbacks out there.
If he can
got a lot of talent.
Stay professional off the field.
Exactly. That is my problem. His off-the-field issues, it's a problem. It's not a good thing. When you want a pro,
because
some guy that you're going to invest millions of dollars in.
You might not be able to use him because of all off-the-field antics, but well, I guess we'll see.
Well, hopefully he won't keep stealing crab legs because he'll be able to afford them. Yeah. So that was the number 1 pick. Now, the biggest surprise of the draft so far was that the Titans kept the number 2 pick, and they used it on who they used it on. They used it on Marcus Mariota. Lots of speculation was that a lot of teams, especially like the Browns, the Eagles, there was a lot of teams thinking about coming up and trying to get that spot. But they used it on him himself, and they haven't traded it as of yet. So looks like Marcus Mariota is the future quarterback of the Tennessee Titans. So we'll see how that works out. Not a bad pick. He is a good pick. But if you look at history, it's never that good of a sign when quarterbacks go 1-2. Usually one quarterback is prolific and one quarterback is not so good. So we'll see how that turns out when everything future will tell us how that
Andrew Luck, RG3. What?
Yeah, RG3. Yeah. Well, you're the one who doesn't like to do that. Andrew Luck is way better than RG3, by the way. I'm just going to put it.
To be fair, their first year, both of them were amazing.
Andrew Luck was still better.
Well,
actually, you're right. Griffin was better the first year, so you're right. You got that. You got me there. And so number 3 pick in this year's draft was Dante Fowler Jr., the awesome outside linebacker, pass rusher, went to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I was kind of surprised. I almost thought they were going to go Amani Cooper here because they need a really good wide receiver to help Blake Bortles out a little bit more. But you can't complain that they went for one of the most important positions on the field. You have a good pass rusher. That makes your whole defense look better. They are a rebuilding team, so might as well go with who you think is the best on the board. So they went ahead and they got Dante Fowler out of Florida. So that was a good pick. Then we had number 4, Amani Cooper. Amani Cooper did go. This is, my opinion, he was like the 4th best player out of the draft, so he went like perfect position. And it really worked. I think it'll work very well. Derek Carr is out there. He's a good young quarterback. He showed some signs last year, and he had no receivers to throw to. So I think he'll fit very well in there with that system. Now they need work on the offensive line. They have a lot of holes all over the place, and let's face it, they are the Raiders, and the Raiders have been pretty bad recently. So we'll see how this really works out. But if you want a talent, you got one in Amani Cooper. So good job to the Oakland Raiders. Then the number 5 pick, I am a Redskins fan. Brendan is a Redskins fan. I was kind of upset. I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit upset. I am a big fan of Scott McCloughan, our new general manager. I think he's done a lot of good things. He did great in San Francisco, built a great team in Seattle. And he comes here, I'm like, okay, he's going to do some good things. So I trust him. I still trust him. But I was kind of upset with him. He took Sheriff. That's how you say his name. Brandon Sheriff. Yeah, Brandon Sheriff, the offensive tackle out of Iowa. Now, Sheriff is the best offensive tackle out there. He is the best offensive lineman in this year's draft. This is not a bad pick. You do have a young quarterback in RG3. You do want to show that, hey, we believe in you. We will put all the tools at your disposal to make you successful. So this is not a bad pick in any means. He did not reach for him at number 5. He's definitely a top 10 talent. But there was this guy out there called Leonard Williams. And he's probably the best player in the draft this year. So he was there. He was there for the taking. And they didn't take him. Now, Leonard Williams is a defensive end. They need a lot less help on the defensive side than they do, I think, on the offense or the defensive line as they do on the offensive line. So it's not a bad idea, but
I like this pick. And I'll tell you why, because aside from showing confidence in the quarterback that we have, even if we decide we want to go for another new quarterback at some point, like there was talk about us even trying for Mariota this year for whatever reason, which I think we
Thank God we did. Well, I think after we re-signed Griffin to his 5th-year option, I thought that kind of went out the window.
Yeah,
we weren't going for Mariota.
But either way, this team has had a problem of trying to go for too much too fast and not working on the less flashy parts of the team that are still core and super important. And we've said for a long time the offensive line has struggled. So putting this pick towards a great offensive lineman, that's just a good sign in general. But also, hopefully it also means we're going to take a step back and say, you know what? We don't need to try to get superstar point makers this year. Let's make sure that we have everything in place. Let's make sure we have the offensive line in place. Let's make sure our defense is in place. All the other pieces are in before we try for those. Before we try for instance, another quarterback, so that another quarterback can come in and have a good line to protect them. And it can actually.
But Leonard Williams is a great corner piece. He's that great defensive player. He can just demolish people.
Our defense is not a problem for the most.
It is a problem though, because it's not good either. You know what I'm saying? We needed more help on the offensive line than the defensive line, but I expected him to draft best player available. So again, I'm not upset with it. It's been a long time. You're right. The Redskins have not done a lot of things right. This seems to be a move where they're trying to set it up where is Griffin's not going to be the man, then at least the next guy who comes in has the opportunity to be the man. So I do understand, and I agree with your point. I just, I wanted Leonard Williams.
Sorry.
The team that did get Leonard Williams was another team that really doesn't need him, and that was the Jets, because they have an awesome front seven right now. But they said, hey, he's the best player on our board. We are going to go for him. So, hey, the Jets have him. They are rebuilding too, so they probably could have used a different player, but I'm not so surprised. Then at number 7, we had the Bears drafting the awesome wide receiver out of West Virginia in Kevin White. Now, Kevin White is a very, very familiar receiver. The way they draft, he's about 6'3". He can jump really tall. He's really tall, so he can jump, and he's out there. He's coming in to replace Brandon Marshall, which they lost to the Jets. But he fit right alongside with Ashlon Jeffries because, again, these really big wide receivers, Jay Cutler throws the ball up for him. They kind of just jump and try to pluck it out of the air. So he really fits with the way this system has been running. And then at the number 8 pick, you have the Falcons. This, I think, is a little bit of a reach. They got Vic Beasley. I guess when Ray dropped down, the Missouri guy, because he just decided he was going to get arrested for smoking pot. Well, I guess he didn't decide, but he got arrested or a citation for smoking pot last week. And so he really shot down a lot of boards, like, boo. So Vic Beasley.
You probably had to be really high to decide to get arrested. Like he just would decide what, like, hey
man, I don't even want to make
right now.
Come on, guys. No, it was a citation. I don't believe he was arrested.
Okay, citation. Look at this.
Give me a citation. Now. So yeah, but that's not good. It's not good. So Vic Beasley, who is a great pass rusher, but he really doesn't do much other than rush the passer. So he's not much of a run stopper. So you see what you get there. But he could have a great career. You never know. He is a top 10 talent, so I'm not hating on him there. Then the Giants picked the next best offensive lineman out there, and that was Eric Flowers. A lot of people actually had Sheriff going to the Giants at number 9. Redskins decided, nope, he's ours. You're not going to keep him. So, that's what happened. Then at number 10, I think this was a little bit of reach, but he is the best running back in the draft. The St. Louis Rams drafted Todd Gurley. Didn't quite understand this too much. Yeah, they expected Zach Stacy to really step up last year, and he didn't. But you had flashes out of Trey Mason last year showing that he could be a potential great running back. And, drafting Todd Gurley, who was by far head and shoulders above everybody else in the running back class. We'll see how that works out. Hopefully it'll be good for him. I can tell you this, I'll probably draft him if he's around in the 13th round of my draft this year, my fantasy draft.
And now we know your strategy.
And now you know. And if he's not around, there's another guy that got drafted in the first round that I'll probably pick up. But that's for a little bit later. Then we have number 11, the Vikings picking the best cornerback in the draft, and Trey Waynes, I apologize, out of Michigan State. He'll come in, he'll help solidify that defense, which needs some help. Wouldn't have been surprised if they picked a wide receiver kind of to come in there and help Terry Bridgewater out a little bit. But they think they have some good in Cordell Patterson, and I guess Greg Jennings is still there, but he's over the hill. So they picked him. Then we had Danny Shelton, a nose tackle out of Washington. I really wanted this guy too. I really like him. He was selected 12th by the Cleveland Browns. I was hoping, in my dream situation was that the Redskins would trade with the Cleveland Browns their 5th pick for the 12th and the 19th pick, and they would have gotten Danny Shelton. But I think he'll be a stud. He'll be a stud. And then at number 13, you had the Saints taking the 3rd offensive lineman, which I really didn't rate him in the first round. And that's Andrews Pete. He's just not ready. He is 6'7". He's huge. He's got lots of muscles, but his footwork needs work. And I think he probably would have benefited from another year in college. Yeah, he can be really good. He can be a staple of anybody's line, but we're looking at 3-4 years down the road, and you usually don't spend a first-round pick on a 3-4 year project. That's just my opinion. Just me. That's all. I am not an NFL executive, so my opinion apparently doesn't matter.
It really doesn't. No one cares.
No one cares. But number 14, we had the Dolphins selecting Devontae Parker out of Louisville, the wide receiver. He's pretty good. I almost thought that Minnesota was going to take this guy just because they need a wide receiver. He's a great wide receiver. He'll have a really good pro career. And it's looking like we're going to have a pretty good rookie class of wide receivers out there with Kevin White and Amani Cooper. It's going to be pretty fun to see some offensive explosion there. And then at number 15, it was actually the first trade of the day, which everybody thought the number 2 pick was going to get traded. Then the number 5 pick was, it was trades were flying all around, and then nothing happened until this one. The Chargers traded up to get Melvin Gordon, the running back out of Wisconsin. And I think this was a good move for them because last time that they were really, really good, that they were really, really Super Bowl contenders, was when they had LaDainian Tomlinson. And what did Melvin Gordon do? Oh, he only broke LaDainian Tomlinson's single game record with, I want to say it was like 418 yards or something last year. So, they're just like trying to get another LT. Probably not going to happen, but hey, I don't blame them for trying. So we saw that, and they traded to the San Francisco. It's only 2 picks, so I think it was either a 3rd or a 4th round pick, so it wasn't much that they gave up. Then we have number 16, the Texans selected Wake Forest cornerback Kevin Johnson. Don't really know much about him, to be honest with you, but no.
Someone's been watching tapes apparently over there, and they don't.
Yeah, they knew. And then we have the 49ers. Their pick from the 49ers was Eric Armstead, another offensive tackle. Again, I just did not see the offensive line this good. Like, maybe two I had going in the first round. And there's been a lot. I mean, yeah, it's an important positions. You got to have those. You got to build from your inside out. But I just didn't rate these guys that high. So it's kind of surprising. But yeah, I mean, that's why I guess the Redskins did decide, hey, we got number 5. Let's go ahead and just take the best guy out there, head and shoulders, the best offensive lineman. That's what they did. Then at number 18, we had the Chiefs selecting Marcus Peters, another cornerback out of Washington. 19, the 2nd pick of the Browns. They picked Cameron Irving, another offensive lineman out of Florida State. And then 20, you had the Eagles picking Nelson Aguilar.
Close up. Keep going.
Yeah. But yeah, he's the wide receiver out of USC. So, and then there we go. Shane Ray, he, instead of being a top 10 pick, got picked at number 23 by the Broncos. So that's what smoking weed will do to you, kids. If you're in the draft, it'll drop you about probably $10 million.
Womp,
don't think it's worth it.
Womp.
We do have a womp sound. We do have that.
Shut up.
Didn't need to make that with your voice, but hey. So yeah, that's the NFL draft. I don't know. I'd say right now the team that came out the best would be the Jets because they got the best player in the draft at number 6. But I don't know. Let me know what you think. Hit us up. Let us know. Comments down below. Of course, at What's My Face on Twitter, Google Plus, and Facebook. Always good ways of getting a hold of us.